Hello! Today we're going to be putting the Orangery together. Now the Orangery is a lantern style project, so if you've previously made the lantern luminaire or the lamplight, you'll be similar with this kind of construction, but there's one key difference. I wanted to try and make this one a little bit larger, so we're using the octagon dies. So if you have the Fabergé egg, the octagon stacking dies, the cupcake box, the pedestal, you'll already have these. So if you've got one of those sets, but if you don't, then if you do invest in the octagon dies, there are quite a few projects that I already have that coordinate with these, and there will be more going forward. So this is, like I say, this is a lantern style project. But it also makes a lovely terrarium, and there's also a bonus project. You can make baubles out of them, large kind of, I think they're at least 6 inches across, large, quite large baubles. They can be opening, you can have them with windows in, or you can have them solid. That's completely up to you. So this is a really versatile project, although it kind of comes within my Luminaire kind of lantern you know, scope. This is such a versatile project. You can use it in lots of ways. Did you want to make like a terrarium? Did you want to make a lantern and put lights inside it and have it, you know, as a centerpiece of wedding tables, or on your table at home, on your sideboard? You can obviously, depending on the color scheme you use, you can make it Christmassy. You can change the screens you put in there. So the window material you use on this project will actually make quite a bit of difference. Now obviously if you want it like the kind of lantern style, it's called an Orangery. It does actually, I was influenced by the Orangeries that used to be. They were actually originally made from brick, but they did have these large scale windows in them. And then as times progressed, the Orangeries actually became like did kind of have windows all over. Some of them have kind of got different shaped roofs. So it's kind of an amalgamation of many that I've seen to come up with this design. So what I was thinking was, if I give you decorative panels, you can put it in and then you can have it like a lantern. But if I do it so you've got large panels, large open windows and panels, then if you put acetate in there, it is like a terrarium. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's fantastic, isn't it? So now, all of those foliage dies that you've got, you can now make little arrangements. You can pierce them into some polystyrene or an oasis block, something like that. Make your own little arrangements and pop inside. I mean, you probably could use the air plants if you wanted to. But look, if you're like me, you've got lots of foliage dies in your stash. What a perfect way to use them and display them. But there's another thing. When I designed it, is I did actually design it for this window to come out and be used separately as a door. So the window, if we have a look, the window die here, it has actually got an outside edge. So if I take these two pieces out. Okay, so you've got your decorative door and then you've got your outside edge. Now, all of a sudden, that is just a door. That doesn't have to be part of your lantern. It doesn't have to be a window. That is now just a door die. And obviously, I took advantage of the situation, and I've put cut lines in here, here, and here, and score lines down the side, so it does actually open. So whether you're using this as a window within this project or any other project, or you're using the outside cutting edge and creating a door, you can choose whether you have it opening or not. Now, if it's opening, you can put a scene inside, whether it's looking inside a building or looking outside onto the world. You can then choose what scene you have beyond it. But what I was thinking when I actually designed this was I wanted a Christmas door. So now, what foliage or dies do you have that you could make little topiaries? This is going to work going forward for your Christmas projects. So like I say, this is possibly one of the most versatile collections that I've done. So let's get moving. We're going to actually make a lantern version with the decorative panels in, but that's just a version, because if you just remove the decorative layer, then you can make yourself a terrarium. Okay, so if you have a look at the large octagon die here, shape, it says number 1 with an asterisk beside it. Now down here it says number 1 is the largest octagon die. So what that means is, now we need 2 of those. So we take the largest octagon die here and we cut that twice, as it is. Now the next one here, it says we need number 1 and number 4. So we count in from the outside edge, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's this one here. So what we do is we take these 2 and we're basically cutting ourselves a frame. So that is number 1 and number 4. And we make sure that we center it. And then we cut those together and that gives us a frame. So that's that piece. And then apart from that, you need one of the smaller pieces. Number 15, you need 1 of those. And number 16, which is the smallest one, we need 3 of those. So that's nice and easy. Now, if we have a look at these other pieces, now what you'll see is up here, if we look at the ceiling panel, it says we need 8 of these. Now you can see it's the outside piece because we can see that it's got tabs on it. And then we've got the decorative inside piece. So we'll take that. So that's literally just the outside and inside 2 layers together. And we cut 8 of those. Now, when I said that I recommend if you're using slightly lighter weight cardstock, what I meant by that is, if you take the remaining 2 dies and cut those together, that will give you a thin layer to lay over the top of this piece. So that will add extra strength. So if you're using a lighter weight cardstock, if you're using anything between 250, 280, something like that, then I really recommend you do that and add that extra layer on top. Okay, so that is what we would do if we're cutting the pieces for the lantern style. Now, how about if you want to create a terrarium? So we'll take that outside piece again. Now we don't want the decorative layer this time because we want nice open windows to be able to see our arrangement inside. So we've got these 2 layers left. Now we want to take the smaller one, and that's important. So we'll take the smaller one, okay? Now this layer then, which is the one that's in between those 2, this is what we cut our acetate with. So whether we're cutting vellum for the lantern style or acetate for the terrarium style, we use the larger of these 2 remaining pieces. Because what that means is then, we've got room, when it goes behind that window, we've got room to put some tape on it to pop it inside. Okay, now it's very similar with the side panels. So let's take a look at those. Now we need 7 of this style. So we've got our outside piece here with the tabs on, so we know that's right, and then we need our decorative layer, so we'll pop that in. Now to get your perfect placement, I would actually recommend you pop the other 2 pieces in before you actually take the window down, because we'd like to get it nice and square. So we'll pop those in. Now there's another little piece that goes down here, and this is just for layering on the outside. It's kind of like the little doorstep piece underneath the window. Okay, so once we have that, we will put some tape on the window, tape on the outside, you know, when it's down on the cardstock, and then we can lift these layers away, and then we've got that perfectly placed. So then you would cut 7 of those. Now one of them, you can see, we take this piece away and we put the window stroke door frame in, and we cut one of those, and that's where we will have the door, so we can access to put the lights in or change the batteries or anything like that. So that's the 8th piece. Okay, now when we're cutting the vellum, sparkle screens or acetate for the side windows, we will, for the side panels, we will use this large rectangle die. But again, if we are creating a terrarium, then we would use these pieces as we did for this last one down here, and then this one then will go in between, giving us enough room to put a little bit of tape to put our window material in. So as with the roof panel, if you're using a lighter weight cardstock, if you put these 2 pieces together and cut an extra layer to pop over your side, whether it's the terrarium or the lantern version, you can do it with either, and that will give you an extra layer and add some extra strength to your project. But I'll show you those particular pieces when I'm gluing it together. I'm going to be using the glitter sparkle screens for my project today, so I thought I'd just show you. So here is the sparkle effect you get. Now it is light outside, so there's only so much that I can dim the lights, unfortunately, but I hope you get that the effect. I've got the cool white lights. They're looking a little bit blue there, but it's actually cool white. But isn't that lovely? The next one is Aurora. Now look at that. Now imagine that inside your lantern. That, I think, inside a lantern makes it look like, well, it is like the rainbow, and they're kind of like little lasers, but they can kind of look, I don't know, like there's something inside, like, you know, fireflies or something like that, kind of fluttering around inside. It's great, isn't it? And the final one is the starburst. So each light forms its own star. Now the cool thing about the starburst one, I mean, I think that's absolutely lovely, and I think for weddings, Christmas, that kind of project, I think just having the white stars would be absolutely lovely. But if you wanted to jazz it up a little bit, let's see what it looks like when you put the multicolour lights underneath. Okay, now each light under the multicolour lights, each light turns into a star, but this time each light's a different colour star. So you've got all kinds of colours in there: blue, green, yellow, pink. How cool is that? Now I think if you're doing anything fun, especially children's projects, but I think if you're doing anything, you know, birthday or particularly fun, you want something a bit vibrant, that is great. Now putting multicolour lights behind the glitter or the Aurora doesn't actually change the effect very much, but on this one it really does. If I change back again to the white light, you can see it's just really different. So it depends whether you're going for you know, kind of Christmas or wedding kind of classic look, or whether you're looking for something a bit fun. Isn't that great? Okay, so now let's get to the prep section. So we're going to prepare our pieces ready for when we assemble. So in the roof panels, we have this piece that was shown in the cut list here. Oh, sorry, there's reflection on that. In the cut list here by my thumb. And then we've got these pieces here that is kind of like your window material. So I'm using the glitter sparkle screen for mine. And then we've got that extra piece that I mentioned, because this is about 280 GSM. So we've got this extra layer. Now I'm going to just glue that right over the top of there, making sure all the borders are even. So let's just go and attach that. Okay, so I've just put my sparkle screen in. Now I would usually recommend that you put that in afterwards, but we'll go ahead and see how it goes in. I would normally recommend that you put your window material in as a last step, because I might have trouble in a moment attaching my tabs behind the window material on the next piece, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so I put the other 7 pieces together, and I need to fold along all of the score lines. So that bottom one actually gets folded towards yourself and the others get folded away. So that's nice and simple. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, so I want to curl my pieces a little bit. So I'm just using a pencil, but you can actually rub it against the edge of your table. So if you put it against the edge of your table and put your hand above it and then pull it down over the edge of the table, but obviously that's off camera so I can't do it. So I thought what I'll do is I'll just take a pencil. Okay, so that's all of our roof panels prepared, ready to go. So the top is the finial. So with the finial, it's this shape piece, and we've just got 2 little layering pieces that go over the top. Now I've done these in the same colour cardstock, but there's no reason why you can't cut your layering pieces in a different colour or a different finish. For instance, if you were cutting your pieces out of plain cardstock, you could cut these layers from glitter or pearlescent or something like that to add a little bit of sparkle, especially if you were doing like a Christmas project, a Christmas lantern. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've done the other 7, so they're all ready to go. So we're just going to fold over along all of the score lines. Now they all go away from you apart from the bottom one that comes towards you. Okay, if you remember, when it comes to the side panels, we've got 7 that look like that, and we're going to start with this one first of all. So we've got the door and we've got the side panel. Okay, so I'm going to fold along on my score lines first of all. So my window aperture is going to be the same for both layers. So if it helps you, pop your fingers inside and those should line up. Okay. Now we've got a couple of extra pieces for the side panels. So we've got this little strip that goes along the bottom. It's only a small piece, but it does add to the rigidity of the project. Okay, and then we've got these little kind of triangular pieces, and they go either side of the arch at the top. And again, they're only little pieces, but they add some rigidity to the project. But here is where you can actually add a little bit of personality, because you can either cut these out of something like a glitter or a mirror or a pearlescent cardstock, or pop them in an embossing folder. And although these are small pieces, you'll be surprised at how much it will add to a project texture wise, just popping these small pieces into an embossing folder. And the thing is, you can probably get all of them in, you know, through one pass, so it's really quick to do as well. But if you remember when I did the lamplight, I was encouraging you to use your embossing folders on some of the panels on there. So even though these are small little pieces, it still will add, I think you'll be surprised, yeah, bit of texture. And if you're going to add some gilding wax, which I'm actually thinking of doing with this, because it's a very dark, I'm not sure if you're picking up on that, it's a very dark green, and it goes absolutely great with a gold or a bronze gilded wax over the top. It really works well. Okay, so that's the side panel. Let's move on to our door. Now I do find the textured side of the glitter sparkle screens works quite well with glue, but if you find that you're using a more slick surface, you're using the Aurora or the Starburst or the acetate or vellum, I think all of the others, to be honest, I would put these in as the last step, and I would use like a red liner tape. But I can get away with it on this one just because it is the glitter sparkle screen, and the textured side does work okay with glue. Okay, I'm going to set that aside to dry. Now let's move on to the other side panels. So here is where you've actually got the window cut into your panel. So again, you've got, or I have cut this layer to strengthen, because this isn't a particularly strong cardstock. It says it's 280 GSM, although it could be lighter actually. It does feel more like a 250, 260, but this is the thing, the cardstocks do vary in thickness, even when they are the same GSM as each other. So have a feel of your cardstock. If you think it's a little bit lightweight, then cut this layer and it will really add to your project. Okay, again I've got this small strip for the bottom. We've got these two little kind of triangular pieces around the arch. Okay, I'm going to put my sparkle screen in. Okay, and I'll set that aside to dry along with the other 6 that I've got prepped, because we need 7 of these panels. Okay, and the last bit that I need to prep are my hinges for my door. So what I've done is I've got 3 of the smallest hexagon, and I'm just holding them against a straight edge and folding them in half. It's the easiest way to do it. If you try and do it on a scoreboard, I think you'll struggle because they're so tiny. But if you just bend it over a straight edge, that's all you need to do. And then what I want to do is I want to fix them along the straight edge of my door, so I'll space them evenly. So I'll start off with one halfway up the middle panel. So that's our 3 hinges, and that is the last piece of prep that we need to do, and we'll set that aside to dry. Can you see those on there? Okay, and we can start to assemble. So let's start with the finial. Okay, so we've got our 8 pieces. We added our layers on earlier on. And we need this hexagon. So this isn't the smallest one, it's the next size up. Okay. And what we'll do is we will just take it step by step, tab by tab. Add some glue. Now when you put these together, what you want to do is just cover over the score line. So you don't want to go past it, but you don't really want to be able to see it either. So you have it just cover the score line. And then you can bend the top one down. So I've glued this one here. You can bend the top one down, and then you can have access to the top tab. Pop some glue on there, and then again you want to come right over to the score line, And then just hold that for a moment before you move on to the next one. Okay, so I'll pop some glue on there. Pop another one on. Just come over to that score line, just cover it. I'll just hold it a moment. And then I can fold that over to get access to the top tab. Okay, so if we splay all of the bottom tabs out, what we can do now is pop our top on. So we've got all of our little pieces here. We'll just pop that one on. All our little tabs. If you'd like, you can actually just put glue on one of these and anchor it, which is what I normally do. But on a small piece like this, I think we'll be okay. Just popping that on, you know, gluing all of the tabs at the same time. Right, and there you are. That's your finial done. With all the layers on. Like I say, I might actually put some gilding wax on this. So I've kept all my layers the same, exact same cardstock. But it adds strength to it. But it is an opportunity if you wanted to pop these in an embossing folder to add a bit of texture. Or, you know, use a different type of cardstock, like a glitter or a mirror or, you know, something along those lines. Right, so I'll pop that to one side and we'll get started on the roof. Okay, it's the same principle. I'm going to start with the bottom tab and go one tab at a time. Okay, while I'm still holding that one, I kind of work ahead and put the glue. So I'm just working ahead and I've put glue on two of the four tabs. I'll do two at a time. So I still just give each one time. The next one, you know, it won't dry too quickly. It will just go tacky. So I still got time to give this one a little bit of pressure for it to take hold. Then I can move up to the next one. Right, I'll add the glue to the last two. Now it is worth mentioning that I am giving myself a little bit of a task here because I've already got my window material in, so I'm kind of gluing to that. What I would recommend is to put all your cardstock pieces together first and then put your window material in as a last step. And that way all your tabs are going against cardstock and they will take hold an awful lot quicker. Okay, as you're adding the panels, it can kind of start curling in on you like this, but don't worry, because when you attach it to form your circle, one thing I do is I get the tabs at the top here, see the tabs here, and I'll kind of link them. So there I've got one under, one over, the next one under again. Okay, now that's kind of holding it. It's like having a spare pair of hands. So that will hold it, and then I can then start adding some glue to the bottom tab and working my way up, and I'm not fighting against it. So that is a little tip there. But no matter what kind of structure you're working on, when you come to do that last bit, this can be really helpful. Right, so I've put the bottom two on because there are 5 tabs. So now I can, before I put that third one on, I need to pop this tab back inside. So I'll pop that back inside, and then so now we have our dome. We've put all of our pieces together. So what we do is we actually fold the bottom tab outwards. But if you wanted to turn this into a bauble, you would fold the pieces inwards, and then using your octagon dies, you would take, because the frame that we've got to fit over here, the inside edge was number 4. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4. We count from the outside in. Number 4. So you would take that piece, and if I put it on here, you'll see that is the size piece we would need there. So you would use that one, and then you would take number 6, and you would cut those together and form a little frame. So then what you would do, just pop those back. Okay, so then what you would do is you would glue it here, and that would give you your shape. So it would hold your shape, but it would also mean that you can open it. If you wanted a bauble that didn't open, you could just have 2, fold the tabs in and glue the tabs to each other. Now you can still put lights in if you glue the 2 together and it doesn't open, because all you need to do is punch a tiny little hole and thread the lights through. Because when you see your lights, if I can find one of the edges, one of the ends, right, here's an end. So you can literally, so you can still change the batteries, because that would be on the outside, but you would thread your lights in because it's ever so thin. It's just a little thin wire. You could thread that in through whatever the hole you punch, and you could still light it up. But yeah, so if you wanted it to be a static bauble that stayed whole and didn't open, you would just do another one and you would glue the tabs, stick it together. But if you wanted it to open, you would use number 4 and number 6 of the octagon dies. You would glue that around here, and then that will give you, that will firm it up and keep it in shape. And then you can use Velcro or magnets or repositionable glue dots to actually open and close it. Now then you can attach a hinge if you like, so you could literally just cut a sliver of cardstock, fold it in half and glue it on there and the other half, so then it would be like a clamshell. So you can put a hinge on, and then add some magnets or glue dots around the rest, or Velcro dots, and it will open and close. Then if you wanted to, now we're going to put the finial in the top in this piece, but for the bottom obviously you don't need a finial, so you can cap it off by using a larger octagon and just gluing it on top, and then that would be the bottom. Or if you wanted to put a finial top and bottom, then it would resemble a Moroccan lantern. So as I was kind of saying earlier on, this is such a versatile die set. Okay, so I've bent my tabs outwards, pop glue on it, then I'm going to pop it inside. Okay, I'm just going to slide it in till the tabs touch underneath. There we are. And then I'm just going to take turns, just putting a little bit of pressure on the different tabs until it takes hold. Okay, so now we've got the finial in. So those tabs have all taken. We'll bend the lower tabs outwards. Okay. And then we need to add glue to these tabs on the top side. You want to add pretty quickly, because otherwise the first one could be drying by the time you get around to that last one. Okay, so we just slide the frame over the top, just tap it down. And then we're just going to smooth it into that glue all the way around. Now, if you're using a lighter weight cardstock, I recommend you actually cut 2 of these frames and pop a second one on, just to add that little bit of strength. So if you are using something like a 250 GSM, go ahead and cut yourself a second one of these to pop on. And yeah, that will firm it right up. But like I say, I'm using a 280, so I should be okay here. Okay, now we've got our roof, our finials in, and we're ready to put our side panels together. Okay, looking great, isn't it? Okay, now we're going to put our side panels together. Now we've got 7 of these, and we've got 1 door frame. So we're going to connect these in a row. So just go ahead, put some glue on the long tab, and connect these together. It's worth mentioning again to put your window material on after you connect all these together, because I've not made a very easy job for myself today by putting it in first. So it's worthwhile putting that in as a last resort, because your window material is non-porous. I mean, regardless of which one you choose, whether it's a sparkle screen, acetate, vellum, whatever it is that you use, it's non-porous. So that means, one, that the glue slides around on it a lot more, so it spreads. And the other thing is, it takes a lot longer to dry. So if this was cardstock onto cardstock, it would be starting to take hold already. But because I put my sparkle screens in first, silly me, I'm gluing on top of them, which means it's taken me a lot longer for it to take hold. So I've just got to give it a minute before I move on to the next one. Okay, so they are all joined together. That's the door frame ones, that's all 8 panels, and then we can go ahead and close it up. Okay, so once all the panels are joined together, what we want to do is we want to bend under the lower tabs. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to put some glue on the top of these bottom tabs. Okay, so we've got glue on all of those tabs now. So we'll put one of our solid pieces in, and you want it the nice side up. Okay, and we'll just tap that down, and then we go around the edge and just press it into the glue and let that take hold. Okay, we're going to bend these tabs over here so we can turn this over now, and we can put more glue on the bottom. And you want to get some over where the tabs are, because we're going to put another piece on here. And as you know, I like to sandwich my tabs in between my layers, because it's tying it all together, but it's you know, making it sturdy, making it all hold nicely together. If there's any tabs where that might be lifting a little bit, pop a little bit of glue underneath, but it's pretty good. Okay, and then we want the nice side facing upwards again. Then we'll just pop that on. So our base has got 2 layers, which will make it a bit more sturdy, but also it's sandwiching the tabs in there, which is great. Okay, then we can turn that over and press down again from the inside, and that will make the 2 layers and the tabs all kind of come together. So just work your way round, putting some pressure down. Just going to have a look, make sure it's all taken. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so now we can put our roof on, but I want to anchor it in one point first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to anchor it out the front. So the back is going to be where my door is. So my front is the piece that's opposite. And I'm going to anchor it here. So all that means is I'm just going to glue one tab on first. Because if you put glue on all of the tabs and try and get it to kind of take hold on all of them at the same time, it's a bit tricky. So just have a look if there's any particular facet that you particularly like. Actually, I think they're all looking fine. So I don't really mind which one I put at the front. Okay, and then I'll just glue that one tab onto that front edge. I'm starting to have a little bit of trouble getting this underneath the camera because it's quite a big project this. It's 12 inches tall. Okay, so we've got it fixed just on that front edge. If I flip that back, you can see that's glued on that one tab. So now I can get in and put the glue on all of the other tabs because it's fixed there. So when I flip it back over, it's going to be a lot easier. Okay, so one little thing you might want to do is just bend your tabs upwards a little bit. And then it will come into contact easier. So we'll flip this over now. And we'll just slide it into place. This is where having wet glue is brilliant because you've got a little bit of time to just slide it around and get it where you're happy. Right, once you're happy with your position all the way around and you think the glue is just starting to take, you can then put your hand inside and just press up all those tabs. And this is where it's really beneficial to put your door on last. Leave it till the end because you can get your hand in there and then you want to push up from the inside with your fingers. So it's a bit difficult, sorry, to show you because it's nearly completed now and it's a bit big. So I'm just making my way around, one tab at a time. Okay, and then I'll swap over and start doing the other side. So you're just pushing it between your fingers, you're pushing up from the inside and down from the outside. Now don't worry too much if you find that afterwards you have a look and you think, oh, there's a little bit here that I would have liked to, you know, stuck down a little bit better. You can, you know, after it's dried even, just pop a little bit of glue in there. Now what you don't want to do is bend it up and put the nozzle of your glue in there. What you want to do is just get a little scrap of paper or plastic, just literally a little scrap, put a little bit of glue on the end and slide it in, push down when the glue's in there, pull it out again and then press down again. And that way you won't put a crease in your cardstock. Okay, so I think it's taken shape pretty well. So now we need to pop our door in. Now if you remember, we put these 3 little hinges on our door. Now what you can do if you're concerned about how this looks on the inside, I don't think anyone's going to see it because you're only going to open it to pop your lights in. Unless you're using it as a gift box, of course. You can cut another door and glue on the back of here to neaten it right up. So you can do that. So we've got our little hinges. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on each of these, and then we can pop it in and glue it behind the door frame. Okay, and then one by one, I'm just going to add some pressure to the little hinges. And there's one there in the middle. Till they take hold, I'll just go from one to the other. Now when the door closes, I do actually like the seamless look you get from closing it. But if you'd like to add a handle, all you need to do is glue another one of those small, the tiny hexagons onto the frame here, and that will serve as a handle. Or alternatively, and what I might do actually, thinking about it, is I might pop a little hole here in the door frame, like midway down the middle panel here, and pop a brad in. Okay, I'll pop the brad in, and that'll make it easier to open and close my door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some lights in, and let's have a look at it lit up there. That's how it looks, and I love the way that the light actually comes through the roof section as well. I think that's lovely, and in this glitter sparkle screen, it's really lovely. It's not, oh yeah, I think you can see the sparkle there. Isn't that fantastic? It's such a lovely luminaire, and it's different to the others in shape, because the others in both of them in different ways were kind of tapered. Well, this one's it's just a larger overall project. Okay, now you have the choice of how you're going to decorate it. Will you leave it as plain cardstock, or will you add some, you know, gilding wax or pastes or anything that you have, any sprays? Then of course, are you going to add any other dyes to it? So are you going to add some flowers and some foliage to the outside? Obviously, if you're doing a terrarium version, then you'll be wanting to do some kind of display to go inside. Now that doesn't have to be flowers or foliage. That could be anything. That could be a Christmas scene. You know, you can pop whatever you want inside. But there you have it. So that is how you put it together. I hope you can see, actually, there's very few steps in this one. It's quite a straightforward construction, but the effect of the overall finished project, I know you're going to be so pleased with. And of course, as we've discussed, we've got a few different ways that you can go with it. You can use the top, make baubles. You can use the decorative panels in the sides, or you can cut large open panels to be able to see a scene inside. So, you know, there are several different ways. I think when you've got these decorative panels in, it lends itself to being used at events like a wedding or a christening or something like that. I think they make absolutely stunning centerpieces for that. And then if you do nice big open windows with acetate in there, clear windows, then you can use it, you know, as shown on the packaging, like a terrarium. So you've got this is what I would imagine it would look like if you did them for weddings or christenings in, you know, like whites or creams. And then this is how, you know, I would do it with the open panels as a terrarium. But these are plain in the sense that you can now go ahead. Do you want to do some highlighting? Do you want to do some embossing? Use some embossing folders on your little layering pieces and panels to add some texture. And then, of course, when you go in with your gilding wax, it's going to pick up on all that texture and it's just going to look great. Or do you want to adorn it? Have some, you know, flowers and foliage trailing down the side. Because after all, it's an orangery. So I can't wait to see what you come up with. And if you are in our group, Cleaner's Crafty Crew, please share your makes in there. We'd absolutely love to see what you come up with. We give a prize to the best project every month, or just a project that catches my eye every month. So that's something that we do in the group as well. So come and join us. We'd absolutely love to see your creations.